think it's funny because lots of people grew up wanting to be a filmmaker, like watching lots of movies and thinking that that was their dream. And I grew up on a farm, but I had like older twin sisters who were very close, so I think because of that I spent a lot of time alone, like daydreaming and drawing and imagining things and like setting up all my toys into like a big scene. I'm kind of intuitive, so lots of things that other people have some special like reason for, I don't have so much. I just more kind of like think, or if I was watching this, this would make me feel more in the film. I went to university and thought I should study something important or something that would give me a job, so I studied engineering and did like physics and chemistry and hated it. And I had a friend who was studying humanities who was doing some film papers, so I said, should I do a film paper? And then I did, and then I loved it, and I moved to a big city and became a runner at a commercial production company. And then I discovered that it's a really amazing way to meet people and to really involve yourself close with people in a creative way, and I think that's actually the best bit, is like the process of getting to meet people rather than like the finished product. So that's kind of what I fell in love with. I worked in post-production, so I was like a tape operator, and then I became a visual effects artist and like a film colorist. So while we were making this film, I was working at a post-production company called Duckling. Well, I've been here and I don't speak Danish fluently, so I couldn't attend the Danish National Film School. Because I wasn't at the film school, I thought I could teach myself. My producer and I thought we could teach ourselves by making a lot of films. So we set out to make these 3 short films, and then I moved back to New Zealand actually. And I worked with disabled people, and I kind of just didn't really do so much film stuff. But I did a lot of like thinking, I had a lot of time, and that's when I wrote 3 scripts. And then I moved back to Denmark. We made them in a year, basically, like a year to shoot them and then a year to finish them. And the second one, the first one that we made came into Cannes, and that was like a pretty big deal. Yeah, so I finally got into a film school. It's the alternative film school in Denmark. It's called Super 16, and it's very much like up my alley because I'm a do-it-yourself filmmaker. So everyone there is like that. Making films is not just about like entertaining, it's also about growing as a person. And when I make something, I like hate it and I wish I hadn't made it, and then because you've learned so much, you want to just make the next thing and you want to make it better, and you change as a person. You don't know why you made all these choices. When I work, I really like actors from like the Stanislavski school or more like method school kind of acting, because I'm not, maybe you've noticed, I'm not that articulate when I speak, and I'm not that precise, and I would much rather talk for like 10 minutes about how the character is feeling, and then let them, and what the scene is about, and then let them kind of do it. Up until here, I felt like filmmaking was about like images, but I think it's about performances, and you can have a really amazing film like Festin, which is basically about story and performances, and like none of the other stuff really matters. And that's number one, I think. And the other stuff is the kind of like bonus, I think. So I think casting is like super important. Yeah, and prepping, like rehearsing as much as possible. I'm super nervous when I shoot, and I get like totally stressed out, so I really want to rehearse everything. I've never made a film yet where I've rehearsed the whole film, but I would like to try. I think it would be really nice. I don't think it gets worse from rehearsing, I think it gets better. Like we had the location like a month before we shot that we couldn't do whatever we wanted, but we could access it. So the photographer and I were able to go around and like shoot the frames. And then take the editor around and like walk the film through with the editor. If you can walk the whole film through with your photographer, then you can give them the job after that. We know like roughly what a 50mm lens looks like. We don't use like a viewfinder or anything, we just walk around and snap pictures and get the runner or production assistant to sit in all the chairs and take photos. And then we make floorboards. I don't work with storyboards. It's like a floor plan of the location, and then you just like put like a little triangle for the camera, and you say like number 1 is here, and it's pointed this way, and like number 2 is here, and it's pointed this way. And it can be really cool because you can order your, what are they called, like you're installing it, your like setups. So you can get the coverage in the first one, and then you know that like the performance is not maybe going to be great in that, but it doesn't matter because it's just like coverage. And then you can like sort of choose what's most important and leave like one that you might not be able to get for last, and then you can cross it off of it. The photographer is Sophia Olsen. She's like really good. She's now like a very, very good photographer. She was at the film school then. And I think one of the reasons that the film is like not a disaster is because the crew was so good. So like, that's like maybe something to keep in mind, is that I have like a really fast editor. He's really cool. And we'll shoot, and then he gets all the material and he does like a rough cut, like really, like in 2 weeks. And I'll just say like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and then there'll be like a list this big, and then he'll do it, and then it'll get shorter, and then we just do it like that for like a couple of weeks, and then I'll start to come in all day, and then we'll fine tune. I don't look through the takes afterwards, and I don't know which is the best take on the set. And he just like takes what he thinks is the best and puts it in. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I find everything in the editing suite. Like, I'll have music that I use to write the script that I'm so sure is like the best music for the film, and then in the edit, like, it's just like totally sucks. So I chuck it out and get new music. I have mask music that I use in the edit. This is how I've been doing it so far. And then I have a composer that I always work with who makes the music. Sometimes when you use mask music, I think it's stressful because the song's so good that you can't do it better. But I think it's good to write new music because then it's like for the film. If you want to make films with a bigger budget, a really great way to do that is to have your film in an A-list festival. We were so busy like sending things that we sent Behaviour to A-list and B-list festivals at the same time. And it came into like a couple of B-list festivals at the same time. And we kind of like said no to a couple, but then we kind of felt that we couldn't say no anymore. And because it's screened at B-list festivals, it's like killed its chances to screen at A-list festivals. So that was like kind of stupid of us. But because we had another film at Cannes, we were kind of like, I don't know, forgetful or something. I don't think you need funding to make a film. Like, I'm making a film that has a really, really big budget at the moment. It's like way bigger than anything I've ever made. But we have to pay people. So it's like the same, because all of a sudden you realize you have money but you can't afford anything because everything costs like 50 times as much as what it cost before. And you only have like 20 times as much money. I don't think it's about funding, I think it's about like getting really cool, enthusiastic people around you, and then like really editing the script to death and making sure that the script is really what you want to tell. Like, if you think your script is finished, write another draft just in case. And if you think your edit is finished, edit for one more week just in case. I think those are the two best things you can do. I think you suddenly become aware that you should write something that you can shoot for the budget that you have, because otherwise it's like horrible. And I guess it's like that for low budget projects, but it's even more like that for big budget projects. Yeah, to bring it back to like how to get to this point, I guess every country has a film institute And the key is to kind of like work until you make a film that you're really, really happy with, and then use that as like a show reel with a script to get real money to make a real film.